And welcome to the Alouettes Flightdeck podcast dedicated to Montreal Alouettes football, presented by our good friends over at Royal Retros, where you don't need a time machine in order to get some sweet, sweet throwback merch. Head over to royalretros.com, use the code Flightdeck at checkout, and you will save 10% off your entire order. I'm Tim Capper. You can find me on X and Blue Sky over at Repact. That's REPPACT.
Good morning, Vietnam! Or should it be Montreal? Anyways, I'm Cliffy D. You can also find me on X and on Blue Sky over at Cliffy D.
Viva Denang. Viva Denang. Denang me. Like a Roman Denang me. Good movie. Good movie. And it's not dating us at all. And I'm being
Nope.
serious because it's
No
a
more.
damn good movie. I mean, considering that Star Wars is a hell of a lot older, but
Yeah.
it's great. I mean, Good Morning Vietnam is one hell of a movie. One and really, if you think about it, Cliff, we ourselves are doing stuff off the cuff. We do a couple of talks, but things to talk about. But man, uh, Robin Williams, what he's able to do, his off the cuff stuff is absolutely golden. That's why he's one of the goats. So
100%. And taken from us far too soon. So, little sky point to Robin Williams, an absolute legend.
yeah, exactly. Um, Game is very interesting, obviously, and we are doing a taping of the show early this week for reasons. That one of the reasons is that one half of the flight deck crew will be in Calgary on Thursday to see the Alouettes. Uh, Hopefully, play a very good game versus the Calgary Stampeders. That would be me, by the way.
I was going to say,
Um,
spoiler alert, it's Tim.
yeah, spoiler, it's me, and we are going to try to do a flight deck live, so stay tuned. It'll be interesting. It'll be our first ever home and away flight deck live, I guess we could say, at the same time.
Yeah, I think this will be the first time in history. I mean, it's technically it's an away flight deck live, but because
Mm-hmm.
the Alouettes are playing an away game, but I guess I'll be home at flight deck headquarters in Montreal, whereas you'll be
On
in
location.
Calgary. You'll be at McMahon Stadium. Or
The
still
Mac. Yeah,
old habits die hard, I guess. You'll be in
yeah.
Calgary, and you'll be joining me to share your thoughts on the game that you got to see live, whereas I'll be watching on TSN. So it's going to be a
Yeah.
very interesting Flight Deck Live. So yes, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you tune in. Make sure you're subscribed. If you're following on the YouTube channel, make sure you hit that notification bell so that you know when we'll be going live.
Yeah. Alouettes win 26-25. One thing that was pointed out this week in the game notes, which I feel bad for not looking it up myself. Should have, didn't. But props to the league for putting it out. Cliff, this was the first time in 22 years that the Alouettes have gone back to back 1-point games, whether they won or lost, whatever it was. 22 years.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, losing by 1 point to BC and winning by 1 point against Toronto, both at home too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you live by the single point and you die by the single point.
All too many times. All too many. Winnipeg. Anyways, there's a lot to talk about. I don't know where we should start. I mean, obviously, if anybody's been following what's happening with the Alouettes leading up to the game versus Calgary this week, there's been really some big news. There really has been, and we will be talking about it because it's gonna, who's determining who's under center, and more than that, who's gonna be wide receivers center. Now, taping when we are, obviously the only thing that we have to go based off of is the final reports, injury reports from practice. The depth charts will not be out until Wednesday. But still, there is quite a bit that we are able to that we can speculate on. But first and foremost, um,
This
we
game.
we go, yeah, this game, and by the way, we're going to give you guys a little bit who happen to miss Flight Deck Live. We're going to be bringing it in here in a couple of minutes. We had a guest, another guest this week, and for those of you who are saying, well, Tim, how can you have guests on Flight Deck Live when you're in stadium? It's happened. And it did happen again this week. And we're going to bring in the conversation that we had with Isaac Ademi Berglund, on his thoughts on the game itself. So a little bit of a 2-for-1 this week.
Yep.
But yeah, this game, obviously Davis Alexander comes into this game coming back after being on a 2-game break, getting an extra game with a bye because of his hamstring. Comes in at 7-0. We obviously, with the Alouettes winning the game, he is now 8-0, and he has tied a CFL record um, for most wins to start a career
Mm-hmm.
at 8.
Tied with Danny
And
McManus, for those who are wondering.
I threw this out to you on Flight Deck Live. I at least want to revisit it a little bit. Is that with what Davis did and how he did it? Because this was the largest comeback that he's ever had in his career as a starter that he's had to come back from in order to win a game. They get the win. How it was done, him scoring the go ahead touchdown in the fourth quarter on a short scamper, where unfortunately he pulled his hamstring again. But does this throw him into legendary status? Now, not necessarily a GOAT, because obviously, yes, he is in tops when it comes to this record itself, but there are many records within the CFL. But does this, how he did it, how what he came back from, and now what his record is and what his current status is, does this throw him into legendary status?
Wow, it was a loaded question when you asked me this past Thursday, and it's still a bit loaded, only in the sense that I feel like this game, how Davis Alexander played, how he basically came back. This was the first bit of true adversity he's had as starting quarterback. I mean, the injury with notwithstanding, but like in a game situation where he was down. Let's not forget the first 3 games where he started, the Alouettes had built a very comfortable, sizable lead, and he was able to, I won't say coast or anything like that, but I mean, he had built up a good enough lead that all he had to do was just, not make any mistakes, and the game was in the bag. This was the first instance where Davis Alexander had to come back from a sizable deficit. And I'm not talking like a couple of points. We're talking like a couple of touchdowns worth of deficit. And my God, he did it. I mean, I'm still in amazement of what he was able to do. And let's not forget, it was doom and gloom. Everybody said, "Oh, he came back too soon, and he's just going to get hurt, and this team is terrible," and blah blah. I saw all the comments. I saw a lot of the haters and the doubters and all those other people that just like to talk junk on social media. God, when he ran in for that touchdown to take the lead, that felt so good. That was amazing. That was, in a lot of ways, I'm sure he would consider that his FU just watch moment, just like what Cody Fajardo had at the Grey Cup in 2023. Yeah. I mean, this is where Davis truly cemented himself as the leader, the man here in Montreal. This is definitely, unequivocally, his football team. To put him in legend status, I mean, he's on his way. I will say this. He is definitely on his way to attaining that legend status. I do think we do throw around the terms legend and GOAT a little too freely nowadays. Like, everybody and their mother seems to be a legend in some way, shape, or form. And I'm not discounting what Davis did, because it truly was a Herculean, phenomenal effort to get that win, to tie the record for most wins to start a CFL career with Danny McManus. It was an absolutely phenomenal performance, and Davis deserves top marks for it, 100%. You're not going to get a dispute from me from that at all. I won't go quite so far as to call him a legend, even though I kind of did when I spoke with him. I actually called him an effing legend, but I mean, just like I said, caught up in the moment, like just the amazement of what he did. And I'm sure even he had to be going, did I really just do that? Like, yeah, man, you really just did that, and it was amazing. And what a moment in time. I mean, when I think about this game, we talked about the Miracle of Mount Royal in 2019 and how incredible that was, and to be in the crowd for that was absolutely phenomenal. Being in the crowd for this game, a Thursday night game, it wasn't quite sold out. I mean, it was just under 20,000 people in attendance, and I get it. You know, not everybody wants to go to the Thursday night games, but I mean, this game was nothing short of electric. The atmosphere was outstanding, and Davis and the team rose to the occasion when they absolutely had to. I mean, this give it some time, but this may go down as one of the greatest games ever played at Percival Molson Stadium by this Montreal Alouettes organization.
And that's saying a lot because there have been a ton of games.
There really has. I mean, not just comeback wins of that magnitude, but I mean, just incredible moments in that stadium itself. And he's right up there.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
Yeah.
I guarantee in 5 years, if they do like a sort of a tribute to Percival Molson Stadium, and we talk about the monumental moments that took place there, I would not be surprised in the least to see this game featured as one of those, Percival Molson moments, if whatever you want to call it. I mean, it was just absolutely sensational. Like, I mean, if you watched it on TV, I almost feel sorry for you because you had to have been there. Like, if you could have experienced what we experienced in the stands, and just like I said, the noise, the crowd participation, the way that everybody's, there are a few people that abandoned ship. I'm going to say there are a few people that looked at the score when it was 25-17 and like, I'm out. Sorry. Better luck next time. It happens. How dumb do you feel now if you did that? And you know what? You get what you get, because that just proves beyond a shadow of a doubt that you, first of all, as a player, you play until there's zeros on the clock. As a fan, as a participant, as a supporter, you stay in your damn seat until zeros hit the clock, because you have no idea how it's going to end. You talk about 57+3 and no lead is safe and all the other slogans that they like to throw about how exciting Canadian football is. Well, guess what? This past Thursday, this game and this Alouettes team lived up to the hype without question.
That's one thing too that Coach Moss was stating. I think he was in his one of either a post-game interview or in his post locker room speech, talked about the 3 minutes. That's why it's in their current team logo. Everybody remembers the Jet logo that they have used over the last couple of years. There is the 3 minutes in there, and it's always about the last 3 minutes. So if we were to say what he did, if we were to name today's show, this week's show, what would it be? Would it be legendary? Would it be monumental? Would it be legendary status? It's not GOAT, and I agree with you. I think you put GOAT above legend, GOATs above legendary. What word would you use, or words would you use if you were to name this show to show what we were talking about this week?
I would simply put Alexander the Great.
There you go. Okay.
That's exactly what he was. He was great this past Thursday. It came at a price, but for what he did to this team, for how he took ownership and how he brought this team back. Again, I'm going to beat this point in a few times, but at one point the Alouettes were down 25-7, and they scored 19 unanswered points to win this game. And all the things that you expect from this Alouettes team, outstanding offense from Davis Alexander and his receivers and running backs, punishing defense by Noel Thorpe and company. You didn't see those in the first half. The first half was just absolutely terrible for the Alouettes and everybody that was there at Molson Stadium. But that second half, this team came alive at the right time. Whatever halftime adjustments that were made, genius. Whatever they did, what I don't know if someone stood up and say, "Hey, you MFers, get your act together. We got to win this game." I don't know what was said. I don't know what was done. I don't know what kind of thing happened during halftime. But there was a momentum shift. There was that paradigm shift. All of a sudden, the defense started playing lights out football and making Nick Arbuckle's life a living hell. Davis Alexander knew what he had in front of him. He knew the work he had to do to get this team back into it. and he did it, and he persevered, and he was put through the ringer. There's no question about that. This Toronto Argos team definitely made things tough for him in the first half, but he just found the way to win. I always say winners find a way to win, and you're not going to find a bigger winner in the city of Montreal in the 5-1-4 than Davis Alexander. And this game was proof positive of that. Hell, I'll even go so far as to say, I know it's still early. We're only a third of the way done in this 2025 season, but when it comes time for the most outstanding player nominees, they're going to look at this game by Davis Alexander, and they're going to say, that's what, he gets my vote. What he did was nothing short of outstanding. I mean, the very definition of outstanding would be that comeback against the Toronto Argonauts.
Yeah. A lot more to talk about, too. Obviously, we're going to talk about the injuries because it wasn't just Davis. And we're going to be talking with Isaac Ademi-Bergen here a couple of minutes from Flightdeck Live about the defense and what they did this week.
I was going to say, we already did talk to him. We're just going to let everybody see us talk to him.
Yeah, exactly. Or people can revisit it again. Everybody has to, in our opinion, watch Flightdeck Live, especially when we are in stadium, because anything can happen.
We say it all the time, and it's true. I mean, like, again, we didn't invite Isaac on. He just sort of showed up and crashed the party. And hey,
he sauntered.
We're totally cool with that. Make no mistake.
We're getting ahead of ourselves. We're getting ahead of ourselves. Let's.
A little bit.
So I mean, Davis for the day, he was 26 of 39, 303 yards for his second career 300-yard game, an interception and a touchdown. Interception which should not have been thrown. For rushing wise, it was Travis Tice, 6 attempts on 40 for 40 yards. The 2 touchdowns went to Davis and to STE, by the way. Leading receiver for the Alouettes was Cole Speaker, 9 receptions for 129 yards and a touchdown. Yeah.
And what a touchdown, because I mean, Davis just dropped it in a bucket, and Cole just made a beautiful fade pass, and just Cole Speaker just basically cradled it in his arms, and that was, I think that you could argue that was the TSN turning point right there, was that touchdown, because that sort of set in the motion the comeback, the fact that, okay, we're not dead yet, guys. There's still plenty of football to be played.
Yeah,
and you can feel the momentum shift too in the crowd as well. Like, all of a sudden, people were trying to beat a path to the exit, because all of a sudden, like, okay, hold on, maybe they're going to do something. Maybe something's going to happen. And sure enough, something did happen.
Well, the funny thing about that, and this is one thing we did mention on Flightdeck Live, is that was on 4th down. That was on 4th and 3.
3rd down.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Either way, it was on the last down that you can get before you turn the ball over on downs. Yes, 3rd down. So 3rd and 4, which was crazy enough. And they did it twice. They went for it on twice during the game and got it. And what's funny, I think they started a trend, because it happened again in another one of the games this week, besides the Argos. But still, the balls to try it at that point. They needed the spark. This is one of the times where, thank God, the field goal didn't. It seemed that was not the option. It was make or break, and they made.
As they say, no risk it, no biscuit. And sure enough, Davis obviously has trust in his receivers, especially Cole Speaker. I mean, you throw it up there, and good things are going to happen. I mean, and that's how Davis has been playing this year. I mean, whether it's Cole Speaker, Tyler Sneed, Sean Thomas Erlington. I mean, like, he's going to find, if someone's in the end zone, he's going to find them. That's all there is to it. And that again, the proof was right there yet again with Cole Speaker. It's just the development of that relationship with him and his receivers is second to none. And we talk about how important it is to really develop that chemistry. And Davis gets it. He understands it, from day one. He has understood the importance of connecting with his teammates on offense and making sure everybody eats, everybody gets a touch, everybody gets a chance to showcase what they can do. Because again, when the chips are down and you're sitting at third down, and if you don't make this, it's another turnover of downs, and you're just the doom and gloom is just going to stick around. That's when the stars come out to shine, and that's when these big moments. These are big boy moments for not just Davis Alexander, but for Cole Speaker as well. And just an absolutely phenomenal touchdown, and that just got the ball rolling for Montreal in the best possible way.
Almost had another touchdown. He was actually stripped right at the goal line. Felt bad for him because it's funny that happens, but then it sets up the fireworks really for what was going to happen later on. Also dropped the 2-point convert. I feel bad for him. Dropped the 2-point convert. It was right in his hands on the Davis Alexander touchdown.
It was a roller coaster game for Cole Speaker, I think.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
As good as he was, he had those moments that were just you feel for him, because he doesn't go out of his way to do bad things. It just, like I said, just two very unfortunate instances where he just couldn't hold on to the ball, and if he did, points would have been produced. But thankfully, in the end, it all worked out in the end. But it's heartbreaking. I felt for Cole in those moments. Like, just such a good dude, and you want the best for him. And when those things happen, it's like, I mean, there's really nothing you can say. You just
no.
It's football.
The other storyline too is that we kind of glanced over it, was that basically through almost 30 minutes of the first half, the Alouettes did not have a single rushing attempt. Not a single rushing attempt. The first one was, I think, like 2:53 of the clock of this second quarter. And sure, okay. We look at that, then we think about football itself. It's RPO, Cliff. That's really what it is. It's the run pass option. The quarterbacks have the choice to pull a ball back and if they think something's better, go for it. After they got the first one out of the way, they did 5 straight. And it's very possible too, Cliff, that finally getting the running game going was one of the other, huge variables in this game itself, because it took him away from being a single-minded football team to what are we going to do next? And I think it worked out very well, but it took him a while to do it. I'm sure everybody in the crowd was like WTF, but it got done. And I think, and again, we don't know it. Again, as I said, usually on Flightdeck Live, usually about the first 15-ish or so plays are scripted.
Yeah.
That's basically what it was. Yeah, it was 16 plays, 16 total plays before they had their first rush attempt. So
it's wild. And I mean, again, I go back to a couple weeks ago in Hamilton when McLeod Bethel Thompson had more rushing yards than not one, not two, but 3 running backs.
Yeah.
And that just can't happen. And we were seeing it again to a lesser extent of just nothing for the running backs. I'm like, it's not like we have a bunch of tomato cans back there doing nothing. I mean, we got some studs that can run the ball. Give it to them, especially too if the passing's not working out. If you can't seem to get in sync with your receivers, hand the ball off. Especially too, like Toronto's run defense hasn't exactly been lights out this year. Surely, someone like Travis Tice or Sean Thomas Erlington can barrel through, and even if they're only going to get like a 3-4 yards at a time, you just keep pounding the rock over and over. And it's not the most exciting football, but as long as you're moving the chains and going downfield, keeping the ball out of Toronto's hands is a lot better than turning the ball over or going 2 and out because you can't connect with your receivers in the air. I mean, sometimes it's being able to say if something's not working, you go to the other thing. I mean, and you've got some good running backs on this team. Put them to use. That's what they're there for.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that it took till just before halftime for them to get the memo. Oh, by the way, you got not 1 but 2 very good running backs dressed for this game. Maybe they could do something more other than pass protection. I mean, I I don't know. What do I know? I'm not a coordinator, but geez Louise. I mean, I have seen what these guys have been able to do all season, and why the hell wouldn't you pound the rock over and over again and then give Davis that confidence that, okay, as soon as I see something that's open, as soon as I can make my reads and see some receivers that are getting open, then I'll start slinging it like I normally do. But yeah, it was just like, as I said, that entire first half of football, both offensively and defensively for the Alouettes, really not good. I mean, I'm saying possibly the worst half of football I've seen in 2025 from this organization.
Yeah, and this is the team that's usually been pretty consistent when it comes to second downs, being successful on second downs. They weren't this time around. They were only 9 for 20. They had four. I think this is the second most that they've had so far this year. They had 4 2-and-outs in this game. Um, again, I it is what it is. For the year, Montreal is still at 51.9% Cliff, which is good. I think it just goes to show how good they actually have been throughout most of the season. So, they have 23 2-and-outs on the year so far, 23 through 6 games. I'm just hoping, we don't need another one this week, but still, there are injuries to talk about. There are major plays to talk about too. But first, I think what we need to do is we're going to go back in time a little bit, almost about 5 days, and let's hear what Isaac Ademi Berglund said uh, when he joined us on Flight Deck Live. We'll be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Isaac Adeyemi Berglund, who, by the way, had one hell of a match tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. That's awesome. Yeah, it was a crazy game. Obviously, games like that come down to the wire. 1 point. I know everyone was kind of, oh man, what's gonna happen? But didn't lose faith. Stuck true to the process, and that's what the result is. Awesome.
Do you feel like this defense finally came alive at the right time in the fourth quarter?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is with our defense, I do believe we have the best defense in the league, and you can't just say things like that. There's teams that might be ranked ahead of us right now, but it's week. What is it? Week 6? Week 7?
Week 7. Yeah.
So we got 6 games under our belts, but there's so many players that can make plays. And I always tell Joey this. It's like spinning a dial. You never know who's going to make the play, when they're going to make the play, but somebody will make that play. And I just think that it was really good for us, not confidence wise, but just to see that we can do things like that at the end of the game. Because I think it was going into the fourth quarter. I don't really remember the time, but down 18.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pretty grim. They've had long drives on offense, and it's been tough. And then so to be able to shut them down there at the end of the game, and to be able to come through at the end is awesome. So yeah.
Was the Argos dink and dunk getting frustrating you guys a little bit? Because we were noticing it's sort of similar to what BC was doing, a couple of weeks ago. But does that type of play frustrate you guys when you're not able to get the result at that time?
I mean, it's like football. If you don't make the play, it's like and that's any play. You don't get the sack, he throws it, and it's But the good thing is we're just able to flush that as a defense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really see anyone that is holding things back or holding pointing fingers. It's tough. Like they're pros too, right? They come in with the game plan, and they execute their game plan, and then it's up to us to adjust and to figure out what works well for us and what we can do. To stop those guys, and yeah, they're all professionals, so it's tough. Yeah, I guess for any play.
Mm-hmm.
Just happy we were able to adjust and to play our style of football at the end.
We were throwing around, obviously, this is, by the way, 18 points is the second largest comeback in Alouettes history. It goes back to 2019, where they came back from 20 down. Talk to us about Davis Alexander and what he's brought to the team, because, Cliff and I have seen him since day one in Three Rivers when he joined this team. But tell us a little bit about Davis Alexander and what he means to you guys and to the team.
First off, man, like Davis is probably one of my closest friends on the team. I only got here last year, but me and him have spent a ton of time together personally, and throughout everything, ups, downs, everything. But me and Davis off the field have spent a ton of time together. In the off season, we've constantly talked, and even through this, with football, obviously we're all together. And that's one of the guys pregame that I always make sure that I come in and I talk to. We talk to each other through text and everything. All that to say, Davis is the perfect leader for this team, and he's got the perfect mentality when you want to talk about offense, defense, special teams. It emanates from him and his play, right? You see it, right? The passion he plays with, and just the way that he's been, just blessed throughout his journey. He is the perfect leader for this team. Is exactly who we are. The Alouettes, who we are, it emanates through Davis, and it's not a one man show, but I just love that guy, and I know everyone will say the same thing, and I'm just so happy for his success. I think what is that 8-0? Is that a record?
It ties a record.
Ties a record. But yeah, I just love that guy, and I love what he does, and so happy for him, and yeah, I can't say enough good things about it. And yeah.
One thing I did tell Davis a couple of weeks ago when he was still hurt is that I was really impressed, and I'm sure you guys are too, when it comes to, even though he was hurt, he was there on the sideline. He was there making it, doing what he could to help the team, even though he was not on the field with you guys. And I'm sure you had many guys that you've seen throughout your career that emanate exactly what Davis has done, but I'm sure any team would love to have a guy like him do just that.
Man. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Guys like him are diamond. Like, it's tough to find those guys, and it's tough to find good quality football players in general. In general, you see so many guys that can't make it in this league or can't make it in general. Like, this is the true 1%, probably less than 1%. And so when you get a guy that's doing that and then doing the extra, and he's doing the extra off the field, he's been doing this since I met him last year with the guys, connecting with offense, with defense. And there's just something that it's hard to speak on. Like, you don't really know with certain football teams that I've been on. When the quarterback has that influence with offense and defense, and he's all throughout the special teams, like, you need that for a winning team. And so it's just hard to find. Yeah, I mean, any team like would be obviously lucky, but it's us. So that's awesome.
There's a lot what he said. There's a lot that he didn't say either that we didn't bring up. I mean, he's pretty spot on. I felt on a lot of the stuff that he was saying, because obviously he's the guy that's in the trenches there. The other things that he didn't bring up, we're talking about the big hit by Duquois late in the fourth quarter, which led to the interception by Cabianento, which sealed the game. It just seemed to be that, that despite some of the injuries that we have on defense, there's still a little work to do. But it's still, these guys were able to step in. As you said at the beginning of the show, what did they do at halftime? What was said? What flipped that switch in order for the defense to be so dominant in that second half?
Yeah, I think they just needed a reminder of who they were, and I think Isaac would probably even say the same thing. Is that we just have to remember who we are. We have to remember what we're about, and this defense has proven time and again that they're just simply so dominant. Like, when they're given the opportunity to perform the way they do, and they feed off the crowd noise, they can feed off the energy of being at Percival Molson Stadium when it's charged up like that. And that's when the big plays come out. And I mean, let's face it, this defense has just been making big plays left, right, and center. And just that last series alone that led to the Cabianento turnover. I mean, again, the electricity is they were not going to be denied. Let's put it that way. I mean, Davis Alexander, risked everything to put the Alouettes ahead, even if it was just by 1 point. I think that's the defense saw that. They said, okay, if this is what our quarterback, our leader, is willing to do for us, we cannot let him down. We cannot be denied this. And all of a sudden, like, the intensity level shot right through the roof. And these guys were playing with absolute purpose. And yeah, major props to Marc-Antoine Duquois, who I've been a little critical of late. There have been a couple times where I've felt like maybe he's not giving his full effort, but like, he had Nick Arbuckle dead to rights and just destroyed him. There's just no other way to describe it. I mean, he just absolutely obliterated him. Clean as a whistle. Like, that was a very clean hit. He didn't. I know the replay center, they checked again just to see if there was roughing the passer or spearing or anything like that. But I mean,
Dinwiddie challenged.
Yes,
he had to get rid of his challenge anyways. But I mean,
yeah, and again, I don't blame him for called a last-ditch effort, especially after the interception. It's like, okay, something. You got to try pull out all the stops at this point. But I mean, again, as clean a hit as you're going to see from Marc-Antoine Dequoy, just absolutely leveling Nick Arbuckle. And then Kebion Ento. Oh my. I mean, this guy, when you least expect it almost, but now you do kind of expect it. I mean, it's just what he does. He comes alive in big games, especially against Toronto, because let's not forget his rookie season. He was lit up like a Christmas tree by the Argos. But then towards the end of the season, into the Eastern Final at BMO Field in 2023, he had that incredible pick six. And to have the pick that sealed this game for the Montreal Alouettes to ensure that they were going to go 4-2 and walk out of Percival Molson with the dub, what a moment in time, and phenomenal. There's just no other way to describe it. I mean, this guy is just wow. I can't say enough good things about Kebion Ento. He comes alive at the right moment. Like it's almost like he's saving the best for last, but so dangerous. And not the first time he's done something incredible like that. And I guarantee you it will not be the last.
No. And lastly, to put this game to bed, we got to talk about it. It's really the elephant in the room. As we talked about on Flightdeck Live, not only it was, recently there have been hamstring issues with Mac, with Alexander, one pop up today, with Najee Murray. Talk of another one, I'll leave it at that. With another player, I'll leave it at that. Because it's being listed as something else. But still, Davis Alexander on his go-ahead touchdown pulls his hamstring again, and is placed on the 6-game list. People need to remember the 6. What it is. That doesn't mean he's going to be off all 6 games. He could come back early if he is healthy, and that's what the team has already stated. What Coach Moss has stated, they want him healthy.
Yeah, and he's being evaluated week to week was also what I was being told as well.
Yeah, and at earliest right now, if it is 6 games, it would be the Saskatchewan game in Saskatchewan.
Yeah, in September. So
in September, yes.
Because again, they always play Saskatchewan here in Montreal in 2 weeks, but yes.
Yeah. So now everything switches back to MBT. I understand why they brought him in. It seems this week that they are sticking with him. But obviously we want Davis to come back. Davis is our franchise quarterback. It doesn't seem to be the same thing as what Cody had last year, so far as we know. And it may be, just one little thing may have tweaked it for him.
Yeah.
Not only that, James Letcher is out with a broken hand. I don't remember. I think it was on one of the rougher tackles that he had, if I remember correctly. Because I remember a couple of times in the game, he was just manhandled like a wreck. I mean, he's a small dude anyways, but he was just manhandled. And now the Alouettes have to, which way are they going to go with this? Because with Travis Tice, they point to Travis Tice, almost gave the ball up on one of his returns. Ball popped up out of his hands, and you had the Argos defender right on him. And how, I don't know how that stayed Alouettes ball, but yeah, it just seems to be at least for the Owls. We've been good when it comes to guys that our 6 game is not that bad. But it's a consistency thing with hamstrings. I just don't get it. Mac came out unscathed, thank goodness. But yeah, and again, as we said, another one popped up this week with Najee Murray. But basically thoughts on the injuries that happened this week and what could be the next 6 weeks.
It's going to feel like a long 6 weeks. I'm not going to lie. And again, it's disheartening because of the game that Davis played. I mean, if the Alouettes got blown out and he tweaked his hamstring, everybody'd be pissed. I mean, it would just be like, why did you bring him out so quickly? Why did you risk him like that? The fact that he got the win and got hurt at the same time is like, again, punch bowl meat turd. I mean, I think it's just something bad. It just has to happen. Like, you can't have nice things, apparently.
Yeah.
It's tough. And I don't want to be disparaging towards McLeod Bethel Thompson. He did not look good that first game. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. He really, really did not look like he belonged at all. And maybe we were just spoiled because of how well Davis Alexander had played the first 3 games for the Alouettes. MBT did not look good in Hamilton. He looked a little bit better versus BC at home, but still didn't get the win. And again, there are other mitigating circumstances to that as well. But at the same time, it was his opportunity to showcase what he can do. And he did okay, but okay isn't going to win you football games. And that was, again, look what happened. BC, even if it was at the buzzer, game-winning field goal, could have gone Montreal's way if certain things had happened. But again, that's ancient history now. Now for at least the next 6 weeks, and you got to figure worst case scenario in this next 6 weeks, it's McLeod Bethel Thompson's team until it isn't. Because I have to believe, based on the 2 games that he played, his leash is not going to be that long. Not long like what Trey Ford's getting out in Edmonton, when you have like a Grey Cup winning quarterback in Cody Fajardo as a backup. And yes, McLeod Bethel Thompson has won a Grey Cup for a team, led a team to the Grey Cup. But he didn't look like that quarterback, a couple of weeks ago. Is that going to magically change now that Davis Alexander is on the 6-game list? I highly doubt it. I really do. But I would love nothing more than be proven wrong and have MBT come in and be that quarterback. Again, we don't expect him to light up the sky with touchdowns. We don't expect him to pile on points. But, as unexciting as a game manager is in football, sometimes that's good enough, especially with his defense. If they're going to be back to playing lights out football at when this team really needs it to, if they can do enough so that MBT is able to connect with his receivers, and discover his running backs. And if he really wants to do the Superman flying thing again, okay, fine, do it once or twice, I guess. But I just want MBT to be the best version of himself possible. And if not, then this team cannot be afraid to go to Caleb Evans, because Caleb Evans, let's not forget, is undefeated as a starter for the Montreal Alouettes. And he had a fantastic training camp, a fantastic preseason. The guy can play football. He can be a quarterback. He can lead this team. I'd even go so far as to say I would expect him to be more like Davis Alexander than what McLeod Bethel Thompson is able to be. And we're not expecting anybody to be the next Davis Alexander. It's not about that. It's simply a matter of being able to play to the best of your ability. Right now, I haven't seen the best of McLeod Bethel Thompson. Or if we have, then we're in trouble. But if you can't do it for whatever reason, then you can't be afraid to go to number 5. You can't be afraid to tap Caleb Evans on the shoulder and say, hey, man, your turn. You do this. You bring this team to victory. As far as I'm concerned, he's done it. He's done it on the road. He's done it at home. He's showcased and shown that he can win football games in this league. This could be his opportunity as well. And if McLeod Bethel Thompson can't get the job done, you can't be afraid to go to Caleb Evans and say, it's your turn. You do this. And if you keep doing it until Davis Alexander is ready to return, and don't rush Davis back because all of a sudden you have no quarterbacks, or the quarterbacks you thought could keep things afloat, all of a sudden they can't. That's going to be a major concern. And my hope is that MBT gets it, understands it, and will be better than what we've seen from him so far in 2025. And if not, it has to be Caleb Evans' time. And there's no doubt in my mind that if called upon, he'll understand the assignment, he'll know what needs to be done, and he will be able to do it to the best of his ability.
We'll talk a little bit more about that when we go into the preview of the game this week. But I want to remind everybody that we are on social media. There are many places that you can find us, including any podcast aggregate. You'll find us. If you want to check out all the history and the archive of the show, head over to www.alouettesflightdeck.ca. We're on X and Blue Sky over at Alouettes FL Deck, Facebook over at Alouettes Flight Deck Pod, and Instagram and YouTube over at Alouettes Flight Deck. Speaking of YouTube, do not forget you can find the full broadcast version there. You can find the audio version there, and you can also find our post-game show, Flight Deck Live. It is a show, as you know, or if you don't, now you do. It is a show that is done every week, despite if the Owls are on the road, or if they are on the road or at home.
Wow. And yes, win or lose, you will hear our thoughts on the game that you had just watched. So make sure you tune in. Again, if you're on YouTube, you can watch on YouTube. You can watch on Facebook live on X as well. So make sure you're tuned in. Make sure you're subscribed, following. However it is that you follow the Alouettes Flight Deck, make sure you're on board, because when we go live, we want you there.
Exactly. If you're looking for merch, want to grab something that has our logo on it, head over to flightdeckgear.ca. You can grab podcast logo merch and anything from the If You Know, You Know lines, from whether it be, our Big Mac shirt, the Cartoon Bird 56 shirt, or much more. It's all there. And also, again, thanks to our presenting sponsor, Royal Retros, where if you use the code FlightDeck at checkout, you will save 10% off your entire order. So as we mentioned, heading into Calgary, Alouettes are currently now in I think ever since with the official announcement of Davis Alexander going on the 6th game, the line has gone from a -5 to a -7 in favor of Calgary. You're talking about MBT earlier. With 2 games this year that he has started, Cliff, MBT has only won 3 of his last 15 starts. Now, yes, it is a different team than what it was when he was with Edmonton. I understand that. But still, he's won 3 of his last 15. Also knowing that Tyson Philpott will not be playing. James Letcher won't be playing. Looks like questionable or game time decision for Najee Murray. There are others. It's very possible we actually may see the debut of an Alouette this week, won't we?
Yep, it's definitely possible. Yeah, the names you mentioned are tough to lose. There's no question about that. Man, I mean, I can't help but laugh though. I know the CFL.ca, they have their writers, their experts, as they like to call them. They made their choices, and already Calgary in a sweep. They've already predicted that Montreal is going to get their lunch eaten for them. And yeah, on the surface, I can't blame them for thinking that way. I mean, Calgary has been the shock of everybody this year, I think. I think a lot of people really expected Calgary to be absolutely dreadful, and they've been anything but. I don't know about you, Tim, but I look at this Calgary team, and I'm getting like 2019 Alouette vibes. I'll bear with me for a second here. As I mentioned, everybody and their mother thought that this team was going to be trash, just like everybody thought the Alouettes in 2019 were going to be trash because of, the uncertainty of the ownership situation, who the general manager was, head coach as well was let go during training camp. There's a lot of doom and gloom surrounding the team, but there's also a lot of similarities to this Calgary team and to the 2019 Alouettes. For example, Vernon Adams is taking over a team after the year before he was benched in favor of somebody else. It wasn't in Calgary, but there is still that parallel. An exciting receiver comes in out of nowhere but instead of it being Eugene Lewis, it's Damian Alford, first overall pick this year in the draft. Workhorse running back who's been sort of toiling behind the scenes for the past couple of years, has been shining like no other. But it's not William Stanback, it's actually Dedrick Mills. Defensively, the team is being coached by Bob Slowick, who Alouettes fans will remember back in 2019, coming in out of nowhere and creating a absolute buzzsaw of a defense that was feared league-wide. And Bob Slowick, current defensive coordinator for the Calgary Stampeders, has replicated that defense almost perfectly and is extremely feared and has made opposing teams, cringe in fear. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I see so much of this team, in this 2025 Stampeders team, I see so much of that 2019 Montreal Alouettes team. Is uncanny. And I mean, going into this game now against this team, I mean, who's going to stop them? And it makes me laugh to think that I think only Mother Nature could truly stop this Calgary Stampeders team. Kind of like how in 2019 the Montreal Alouettes lost a game due to the weather. The Calgary Stampeders this year, their lone loss at home was due to the weather. The game wasn't canceled, but the weather did play a major factor in the loss. I mean, I don't know how many more parallels you want me to find, but I mean, to me, it's incredible just how this Calgary team is looking right now. I mean, they are among the best in this league, as are the Alouettes right now. But for Calgary to be in the position they are right now, I think is really catching a lot of people off guard. And simply put, this Montreal Alouettes team that's going in there on Thursday, they had better be prepared. McLeod Bethel Thompson better be prepared, because offensively, defensively, special teams, I mean, this Calgary team, I'm not going to say is unbeatable because they have lost, but they are riding the momentum wave like nothing else. And it is going to be a challenge for this Alouettes team on Thursday to go into Calgary, a place where they haven't always had the best of luck, and to come out with that W without their superstar, Davis Alexander, without Tyson Philpott, without all the others that you mentioned. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the odds are definitely against the Alouettes in this one.
And by the name we're talking before, we may see the debut of Alexander Hollins. If that's the case, if Philpott isn't going, which by the looks of it, that's what it's going to be. So again, stay tuned to the depth chart that will come out on Wednesday.
That is definitely a possibility. And we also may see another returner joining the lineup, because the Alouettes did sign a insurance policy, if you will. One Lincoln Victor was signed. He actually spent the 2025 training camp with the Ottawa Red Blacks and was let go. But the Alouettes did have a chance to see him in action and actually didn't look out of place. So I'm curious to see just how quickly. I imagine Travis Tice is still going to be getting the line shares of the return duties, but if Victor can get into the lineup right away and keep things afloat, so to speak, until James Letcher's hand heals, I'm looking forward to seeing what this young man can do. I'm
actually gonna disagree with you on that one, because I think that I don't see Tice being a workhorse at running back if that's the case with him and STE and doing return duties. I think Tice will, in my opinion, I think he'll mainly stay for running, being a running back. But we'll see. We'll see what the depth chart is. We'll see if Tice is listed as a potential returner also. We'll see.
It'll be interesting. I mean, he's done a pretty good job so far. I mean, that bobble in the game last Thursday notwithstanding, I mean, he's done a pretty solid. Again, he's still very hard to tackle. So
yeah,
in a lot of ways, you wouldn't be mad to see him returning those kicks and punts. But that little bobble may have. It certainly gave the Alouettes, I'm sure, pause for consideration. Hence why they went out and signed another returner. So again, as you say, we'll see what happens when the depth charts come out, but there is that possibility.
Yeah, it's going to be again. It's going to be interesting. McLeod is 3-5 all time versus Calgary. Again, as I said, the Owls are going to have to play a very good game. McLeod's going to have to be on. It really is. We got to stop with the 2 and outs. We got to do some sustained drives. Keep VA off the field.
Mhm.
Yeah, really that's what it is. It will be a challenge. This will be the biggest, in my opinion. I think this will be the biggest challenge so far for the Alouettes heading into Calgary. Again, 5-1 versus 4-2. These two teams are tops of the league in turnover rate, which is +6. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes glued to the TV and get your popcorn out. So,
Absolutely. Again, it's not impossible for Montreal to go and pull out this dub, but I mean, they've got their work cut out for them. We will definitely say that. I mean, Calgary is proven over the past couple of weeks they've got no problem taking on the best of the best, and that's the other thing. Let's not forget they're dominant, and they basically won the season series against Winnipeg, of all teams, the team that was in the Grey Cup for the past 5 years. I mean, and handled them quite readily. I think it even won by the same, not the same score necessarily, but by the same margin of victory. I believe it was the same in both games. I mean, and Damien Alford, oh boy, this guy is a problem. big problem, literally big, because he's like 6'6", 225, I believe. I don't know who's going to be covering him, but best of luck. I think you got to maybe find a way to get 2 guys on him, because he's a big boy, and VA is loving the opportunity to throw to this kid, and he's coming down with the ball and making plays happen. So yeah, I think Montreal's defense is going to have to work extra hard, not only to get in VA's kitchen and disrupt him, but you can't let him throw towards Alford or anybody for that matter. But I mean, you gotta take away all of his weapons, VA, because again, when he's on, and he's been on lately, he's almost unstoppable. But if Montreal can find a way to get inside his head and just make him uncomfortable throughout the game, make him make those mistakes that he's prone to at times, again, all they have to do is, if they do that, that's half the battle right there. And then MBT, all he has to do is just remember, he's got good running backs behind him. If you're not connecting with receivers, you hand off to the workhorse and you let them do it. You let them pound and ground their way to the end zone if need be. So again, it's not an impossible task to go to Calgary and get the dub, but it will not be easy. But again, we shall see what happens.
Yeah, as of the pod, as we're taping, and the injury report for Week 8 for this game, obviously Davis Alexander is out. Lorenzo Burns, by the way, it looks like he's going to be returning after a shoulder injury. Dylan Wynn will not be playing. Tyson Philpott will not be playing. James Morgan will be a number 3 quarterback. Mustafa Johnson, there is some plus there. He's been limited, but he will not be playing or making his debut as of yet for 2025. James Letcher is out. Josh Archibald is out. KD Davis is out. Nate Beauchemin, they didn't list. I guess he's available. And then, as I mentioned before, this damn hamstring stuff. Najee Murray is questionable heading into the game on Thursday. The one big thing too we want to talk about before we finish, and it broke during the game itself, is the whole thing with Sean Lemon, re-signed by the Alouette. Obviously, as we mentioned last week, suspension was over. Right before the game. Sorry, yeah. Right before the game, found out that the Alouettes did re-sign him for the rest of the year. Still has to finish up his 2-game suspension for enhancement drugs. But so we found out this week, obviously 2 weeks, found out because of when the Alouettes signed him, that counts as one of his games this past week versus Toronto. next week's game, this will be his second. So he could actually make his Alouettes re-debut next week. Thoughts on the re-signing, thoughts on the status, and thoughts on having Sean Lemon back in the defense.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And a lot of people are asking, does Sean Lemon still have it? I'm going to say yes. I think he wants it bad enough. Proof positive that Montreal clearly still sees the value in having a Sean Lemon in the lineup, not just for his playmaking ability. And again, yes, he's I don't want to call him old, but he's a veteran. Let's put it that way. He's not a young man anymore, but still has plenty of gas left in the tank, and his character as a part of the Alouettes locker room is unmatched. I mean, he is the kind of guy that is going to get people excited, get people hype, and to put him in with this defensive line alongside of studs like Lawal Ugalak, Isaac Adeyemi-Berglund, Sean Oakman, and you got Sean Lemon now as a part of that. Imagine if Mustafa Johnson was healthy. Imagine if Dylan Wynn was healthy too. Josh Archer. This defensive line is just a murderer's row. And now you're going to add Sean Lemon to the mix. Whoo! That is fantastic. I am very happy about that. Again, Sean Lemon also too, friend of the show. Also, you can tell he's excited to be back in Montreal. It's where he feels he belongs. And he's going to have the opportunity now to finish his career on his terms. And despite, I know a lot of people are upset about the whole gambling thing, and they're pissed off about the fact that he's been reinstated as a result. Again, Chad Kelly was reinstated and did less time than what Sean Lemon did. I think if you wanted to send a message about, your indiscretions, I think the message was sent. I think it was received by Sean Lemon. I think he understands and realizes what he has done, and he's basically on strike 2 now. I mean, if he does anything else, he's out and done permanently. And now this is his opportunity to come back to a team that loves him, appreciates him, that suits him to a T. I'm excited to see what he's able to do. I'm very much looking forward to the game against Saskatchewan, because he will be making his return to the Alouettes lineup, and there's no question in my mind he is going to be able to contribute right away, much like he did in 2023 when he was signed. And remember, a lot of people were asking, like, how is this guy not being signed yet? Like, what's going on? And then when the Alouettes brought him in, they brought in Darnell Sankey. That momentum shift, the mindset, the attitude changed dramatically for the better. There's no doubt in my mind that when Sean Lemon is back in the lineup for the Montreal Alouettes in 2 weeks, not this coming Saturday, but the next Saturday, I think we're going to see the very best of this defensive line of what they can do. I'm excited to see what combination Jason Moss and Corvée Irvin come up with of any number of guys, whether it's Oakman, Lemon, Berglund, Archibald if he's healthy, Johnson if he's Dylan Wynn if he's there's just so many studs on it is unbelievable. And opposing quarterbacks, I just had a thought. Sean Lemon is going to make his return against Trevor Harris. Now, Trevor has been playing some pretty good football for the Rough Riders this year. He was actually nominated the Player of the Week, which kind of blows my mind, because they did not watch Davis Alexander do what he did. How do you nominate? Once again, Trevor and his stats. I get it. But how do you not make Davis Alexander the quarterback of the week, the most outstanding quarterback of last week for what he did? Okay, fine. It is what it is. But you think about the fact that Trevor Harris is going to come into Montreal, and he's going to be facing all of those guys, including the returning Sean Lemon, who hasn't played in a little over a year and is chomping at the bit to get back on the field. Best of luck, buddy. You're going to need it. That's all I got to say.
Yeah. So obviously, it'll be a very interesting game this week. Obviously, we want you to join us on Thursday for Flight Deck Live. Cliffy will be hosting, at least to start. That we can tell you. Stay tuned to all of our socials for when it will go live. But it will be broadcast after the game is over in
Yep.
Calgary.
Again, make sure
And
again, folks, make sure you are subscribed. However, you're going to be watching Flight Deck Live, make sure you're subscribed so you get the notifications. So when we do go live, you'll be ready to go. And again, I'll do the hosting duties. Tim's going to be in Calgary. He's going to be joining me. Win, lose, or draw. Oh God, I should have said that.
I was about to say, last time we were there, we drawed.
There was a draw, and that actually led to a pretty good episode of Flight Deck Live. We were pissed, just absolutely pissed off about the draw. And well, regardless of what happens after the game, how the game plays out in Calgary this coming Thursday, we're going to share our thoughts, good, bad, or other. So make sure you are tuned in. Make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you are a part of the flight crew, because I'll be in Montreal. Tim will be in Calgary, but we're both going to be on the web doing our thing live for each and every one of you.
Exactly. And if for whatever reason you can't catch us live, make sure you catch us on archive. And if not, we will see you guys next week on the show. So for the last time tonight, for everybody here at the Alouettes Flight Deck, for Cliffy D, I'm Tim Capper. We're on Final Approach.